Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Thunderdome.
I'm Niecy.
I'm Chad, Niecy&Chad show here,
Yes.
where we talk about all kinds of things, relationship and marriage.
And this is our health check that we are now going to do on the season 12 couples of Married at First Sight. All right, so this is our health check for season 12 couples from Married at First Sight.
And of course, these couples need no help. It couldn't be a more perfect match. Could there be?
I guess we're about to find out.
So,
just to catch you up, health check is our new metric that we've developed to indicate how healthy a marriage is at any given point. We've got 5 categories that we're going to look at and basically do an average of where each spouse is with that particular category to develop one composite number for the health of the marriage.
So we'll rate them from 1 to 5, 1 being really awful, 5 being the best they can get. The 5 categories are affinity, which is basically, hey, would you like this person if you just met them? Would you? Respect, do I value that person enough to put them before me? Communication, are we talking? Are we listening? Chemistry, I like what I see. Maybe I don't. And the final one is called you first. So am I willing to put your needs ahead of my conscious thought to do that? So.
See the way nothing. Okay. I guess that's just that. But see the way you defined respect, it feels like it doubles up with you first. You see what I'm saying? Anyway, but okay.
So let's start with the first couples. They are Brianna and Vincent. So let's just say that everybody's been married, what, about 7 days now?
Has it been that long? Well, they're leaving the honeymoon, so yeah, and I guess the honeymoon was about 4 or 5 days, so yeah, so we're at right about a week, I guess. Yeah.
So they've been married. And so, so the first one we'll take will be affinity. So between Brianna and Vincent, they're both, well, Brianna is a professional girl. She's a business person. And Vincent is too, but he's in kind of a different area. I think Brianna is an engineer. So, she's going to be very process driven. And Vincent's a sales guy. So he's going to be looking for which way the wind blows.
But at the end of the day, they like each other. That's all we're talking about.
And I think they would like each other whether they were married at first sight or not.
Right. Yes. Okay.
So we're going to put them both at.
So here's the question: do you think that Brianna just likes Vincent as a person? When Brianna looks at Vincent, do you think this is somebody that she just would kick it with? Do you think that he's somebody that she thinks is a cool person? Would she genuinely like Vincent?
Yes, I think she would.
To what degree?
I'm going to say a 3.
A 3? Okay. Now why 3?
Well, because there's some things going on with Vincent right now that I don't think she likes or understands.
Okay.
So I think if things were smoother between them, because
and listen, this is where you get into the specifics. I think this is where you can say, you know what? I think that recent blow up for Brianna may influence how well she likes him. She's still getting to know him, and I think she's now seeing a side of him that she didn't know was there.
Right.
So I think that may have pulled her back down a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So Vincent thinks Brianna is a little disrespectful to him. He thinks that she talks demeaningly to him and kind of makes it look like everything is his fault. Now, I think that's just the way Brianna is. I got a feeling that's just who she is. I don't think she's doing it because let me get Vincent. I don't think that's what's in her heart.
Right.
But I think that if he didn't feel that way, she might rate higher than a 3 with me in the affinity category.
So I think both of them genuinely like the other person. I think that if they were just, you know, in a group setting, that they might, you know, spend time talking to each other. I think that they would kick it with each other, even if there were no romantic interest. And I agree that last week's events, where they hit a little bump in the road and they're seeing other sides of each other's personality. I think that kind of has leveled things out to a 3 for both of them. But at the same time, I do think that they still genuinely like each other, you know.
You know, I was going to give Vincent a 2.5.
Yeah, you think so? Okay.
Because he does, see, I imagine there's things that two people get together, there's always going to be stuff. How bad how much that matters is just directly dependent on whether or not you're willing to say it.
Now, the score, Vincent's score is how much you think how much of an affinity he has for Brianna. Is that what we're talking about?
Yes.
Or are you talking about what you think of Vincent?
I think that Vincent's affinity for Brianna is tempered a little bit by the fact that he thinks she's always trying to smart talk.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would be stronger if he felt that wasn't going on.
Absolutely. So, but you think it's tempered to less than down to 2 levels. Okay, 2.5 levels. Okay.
2.5?
See, I don't know. Like I said, I don't know that I think it's that extreme. I don't know. I was gonna put him at a 3, but I mean, I'm not saying. I mean, we can split the difference, 2.75.
We'll give him the 3, and let's see what happens.
Yeah, because I don't think he's. You put it this way, 3 is right in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I don't know that I would say he's less than the middle, because I think this is I think for me right now it feels like a minor bump in the road, and I think that's because I don't necessarily interpret his leaving as being as extreme as some may take it. I feel like the leaving may be because he said previously, I don't want to blow up at her or something like that. You know, the cousins have talked about how he can they imply that he can have an explosive personality when it comes to anger, and he didn't really seem too happy about the fact that they described him that way. But he also made a point of saying that he doesn't want to blow up or something. He didn't. That wasn't the phrase he used. But he did suggest that he definitely doesn't want to have to do that. And so this may have just been his way of saying, I do. And we're gonna get to the next category, but I do respect you enough that I'm not gonna treat you that way. And so anyway, I don't know. For me, I'm gonna say 3.
We're gonna leave them at both at 3 in the affinity category. Now we move to respect.
Okay.
I definitely think they both respect each other.
Absolutely.
In fact, I would go maybe as high as 4 each on those.
Mm-hmm.
Because, so for those of you who haven't seen the latest episode, he and Brianna got into a little discussion. He ended up leaving. And now I thought that was a bad thing, but my wife has helped me to see a different side of it. What if he is the kind of person who kind of blows up sometime and he didn't want to blow up with her? So he left not to say, I'm mad I'm leaving, as much as it was to say, look, I don't want to get this way with you, so I'm going to step back a little bit.
So rather than being an act, maybe a tantrum, which is I think a lot of us interpreted it that way initially, it could just be really an exercise in self-control. And I think he did it because he respects her. And I think that she wouldn't care as much, or she would have been much more defensive or combative to his statements if she didn't respect him and have a true affinity for him. So I definitely think there is some respect there. Also, you know, with the other couples, when they are with the other couples, they don't take that opportunity to sort of point out any negatives or to nitpick and things like that. And I think that shows a level of respect. Now, and I know that they are in a good place, But even still, you know, some people can always find something bad to talk about, and some people, when other people are saying negative things about their spouse, they, you know, misery loves company, so they want to join in. And I've not seen that from either of them, and I do think it's because they respect one another and they respect the relationship.
So that's a good thing. So I think then that a 4 for each of them in respect.
I like a 4. Yeah, 4 sounds good.
4. So they are now up to a smooth selling percentage of 28%. Their combined score for so we keep a category combined average index score. So it's at 7 right now.
But we still got 3 categories to go. Next is communication.
Communication. How well do they talk? How well do they listen?
So, you know what, and again, I think they're doing very well. And you could get the impression that because technically this is the second incident or quote unquote argument that they've had. But I think that's healthy. I think it is important that they have these difficult conversations. And remember, they're still getting to know one another. But I think the fact that, because I knew very early on, that girl has a lot of opinions and she gives a lot of directions, and this coming from an opinionated woman, you know what I mean? So if I say you have a lot of opinions, you have a lot of opinions. And so I knew it was just a matter of time before Vincent was gonna, you know, raise an eyebrow. I'm glad that it's coming early, because I think if he waited too long, it would be unfair to her, because that would send the signal that it was okay all this time, and now out of nowhere you're switching up on me. So it's important for her to know exactly who he is and when she's going too far, and it's important for him to know, you know, that he can share his feelings with her or what have you.
Yeah, so I think in communications, I'm going to give them both a 4 unless you object.
I feel a 4 is appropriate. I do.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's good they get this out early. The thing about communication is you just got to be able to take it and listen as well as you talk.
Absolutely. And that after that first one, you know, the next day they were able to get back on good terms fairly quickly. Mm-hmm. And if they can do that this time, then they are definitely well on their way to healthy communications.
Yeah, because I think a lot of the stuff that he's feeling from Brianna is not spiteful by her. I think it's just the way she is.
Absolutely.
And they also have to remember they've not known each other 30 days yet.
Right.
So some stuff is going to come out that they weren't expecting, and that's okay.
But here's the thing, as they say, you teach people how to treat you, and so it is important for Brianna to learn very early on, you know, when she's going a little too far. Not necessarily, nobody's asking her to change who she is altogether, but being in a relationship means being respectful of the other person and how they want to be treated. And so it's good for her to figure that out early.
Chemistry.
Chemistry.
That's the next category. I find it hard. In fact, I would almost give them 5s both on that, because they both seem to be into each other.
I'm going to hold off on 5 just because it is so early, but there's definitely strong chemistry there. For me, I mean, I feel like it still needs to be a 4 just because it's still so early and so new, but they absolutely, you know, from the moment they met, they genuinely seemed attracted to one another. You do see them touching a lot. We know that they've been intimate, and it seems to have enhanced the nature of the relationship. So they absolutely seem to be in a great place when it comes to chemistry.
Right.
Yeah.
And final category, you first. So remember, the you first is who do we think they're both putting themselves over the other. Now, I'm going to give Brianna a little bit lower score here than I'm going to give Vincent from my perspective.
Mm-hmm.
Because I remember way back when they were talking about was it the high rise?
Yeah, where they want to live, what type of house they want to live in.
And he chose something that she wasn't necessarily fond of, and she mentioned what she liked, and he says, okay. Because at the end of the day, man, you just got to be living in a place wherever it is. If she likes it more than the other and it doesn't matter to you, go with it. Yeah.
And you know what, feel like they've both, like, I think last week I would have given them both maybe a 4 for you first. This week I'm kind of right now feeling 3 for both of them. For Brianna, it's because, as you stated, she's always letting it be known what she wants.
Right.
And very rarely does she say, well, what do you want? Well, let's do what you want. She loves the fact that he caters to her, and that's amazing. Who doesn't love that? I love it too. You see what I'm saying? But at the same time, that makes you even more obligated to be conscious of, well, what can I do to put him first? Where's an area that I can let him get what he wants for a change, you know? And I don't really see that from Brianna. I don't think it's malicious. I don't think that she's a bad person, but she has to be aware. And that's the good part about the conversation, the difficult conversation. Now she's maybe will be more conscious of it. But for what we've seen so far, I'm going to give her a 3. But how do you feel about him? Now I feel like up until this point, he has definitely made the effort to put her first. But do you think he falls back this week because he finally said enough?
No, you know what? Oh, so I'll tell you what. I'll give him a 3-5.
Okay.
Because I still think that you know, you gotta, if something's really bothering you like that, you gotta speak up.
Absolutely, it's important.
You can't let the you first thing retard anything. You can't oppress any of these other categories.
Yeah, you can't start lying to yourself or your spouse just so you can feel like you're being the great guy here. So
we'll give him a 3.5. That puts them at an average of 18.3 points, and they're 73% on their way to smooth sailing.
Yeah, but that's a C. And I mean, listen, they have been married for all of a week.
Yep.
And they have known each other for all of a week. Now, last week their score would have been much higher, but I still think they are on a good trajectory. I think they're in a good place overall. Yeah.
Yeah. Look, they're heading in the right direction, and they're gonna be some. So let's see if they bring this up from next week. In fact, we will be comparing weekly scores.
Absolutely. So, next couple?
Next is Clara.